Okay, hi. If someone wants to just write to check that they can hear me. I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes. Yeah, okay, you can hear me. Just a minute or two, okay? Okay, so I think we're gonna start, if that's okay. I think we're ready. Yeah. Okay, so hi everyone. Welcome back to everyone who was here yesterday, and welcome to all the new people. Today we're painting a beach scene over here. We've got a beach with iced tea. So for those of you who are able to get to the beach this year, this should be your view that you see every day. And for those of you who haven't been to the beach, who haven't been able to, at least you'll be able to feel like you were there. So I'm gonna put this on the side, and every so often I'm gonna bring it in to show you, to remind you what it should look like. But then like this, we're gonna have our painting. You'll be able to see clearly what I'm painting. Okay. So I'm going to start by putting this aside. Oh, do you know what? Before I put it aside, I'm going to quickly go through what we'll need. Okay, so we'll need a plate or something like that to pour your paint on to mix your colors. And it doesn't have to be a plate. It could be a piece of silver foil. It could be a piece of baking paper, just anything really to put your paints on. You'll need a bunch of brushes. 2 or 3 is normally enough. I always have loads because, you know, so for sure, always say at least 2 different size flat brushes if you can, and 2 round ones. If you don't have flat, if you only have round or only flat, it will work. It'll be fine. And I like to have always a small one, a small brush like that. Sometimes even smaller, but for today I'm doing just this size. And you know, whatever you've got will work. Just make sure that it comes to a nice point, because then even though it's not the thinnest brush, but because it comes to a nice point, we're able to make really nice thin lines. And same goes with your flat ones, that they should be nice and flat, you know, that we can also make a thin line with it soon. Okay, and then the colors you're going to need is like this: a sky blue, okay, any sort of sky blue. It's actually looking a lot darker in the picture than it really is. It's much lighter. The one I've got here is called cerulean blue, but any kind of blue is okay, as whatever you like for your sky, really. If you've only got a dark blue, you can use it and add white to it. It will come light, so don't worry about that. If you want, if you have enough colors, I don't know what you're using. If you have a turquoise, I'm going to use a turquoise for the sea. If you don't have a turquoise, I'll just show you another version of this one that I showed you yesterday, where the water is the same color as the sky. That totally works too. So don't worry about having a turquoise. If you happen to have a turquoise, it can be nice. Okay. You'll need some sort of a beige. So what I've got is actually yellow ochre, they call it. Hold it upside down. Yellow ochre, but any version of beige. It's basically for the sand. We're going to add white to it, so if it's a little bit too dark, don't worry about it. We're going to need a brown. The brown I like best for this is burnt umber. It's a classic one. If you've got a set of paints, it will probably have a burnt umber in it. If you don't have, I'm just holding upside down to keep the paint at the bottom, but if you don't have a burnt umber, just any nice dark brown that you've got. We will need yellow. Again, holding upside down, but it's a cadmium yellow what I've got, but any yellow works. Obviously white and some black, which I haven't got next to me right now, so You know what black looks like, yeah? And then for the starfish over here, it's really any color you want. I've got the red here, but really have fun with it when we get to it. Make your starfish any color. It doesn't have to be starfish. It can be what you want. That's what I love about this painting. I love when you get to copy mine, but then you have your little bit where you can put your input and make it how you want. Okay, so I'm gonna just quickly check if anyone's got questions. Someone asked, did I redo the painting? It looks different. This was the original. Yesterday, I accidentally showed you a different one. So this is the one I showed you yesterday. But I'm showing you this one today just because of the difference of color. But honestly, if you look, they're very similar. This one has a lemon and a lime, which I will show you how to do. But just this one here, I did the straw a bit nicer. And we've got the two different colors. That's why I'm showing you this one today. But throughout the thing, I could just show you all of it. Is there anything I need to that I missed? Okay, so I'm just going to quickly go through what I've said so far because some people just joined us. So we need a variety of brushes, some flat and some round. Make sure you've got a small one is very useful. You know, always just a bunch of brushes. So I've got here 2 flat ones and 3 round ones. You know, plate or something to pour your colors out and mix them on. You'll need, I'm just going to quickly go through sky blue. It's lighter than it looks in the video. If you have a turquoise, it's great. If not, you'll just do the same color as the sky. It will still look fine. I didn't say before green. If you're going to do the lime, you'll need a green. That's optional. You'll need some sort of beige. What I've got is yellow ochre, and I've got burnt umber brown. Whichever beige and brown that you've got is perfect. A white, a black, a yellow. Cadmium yellow is what I've got, but you could use any yellow, and a red or any color you want for the starfish. Okay, and a pencil. I always forget to say you need a pencil for the drawing in the beginning, and a cup of water. Make sure it's very clear that it's your cup of painting water, not your drinking water. If you don't have a lid like I do, don't overfill it because it will always spill. It's just Murphy's Law. A cup of water always spills, and you always, I always end up drinking, or I'll put my paintbrush in my drink. So can we do yellow? Can we do yellow for the sand? Guys, I'm just showing you how I do it. This is your artwork. Do it how you want, okay? Put your spin on it. If you want to make your sand yellow, make it yellow. If you want to make your sand purple, make your sand purple. It's really put your own spin on it. Yellow sand will look nice also. It's just not what I did. Doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong here. It's art, you know? Okay? So with that, let's go. Okay, so like I said, I'm going to put this on the side, and you're going to see this, and every so often I'll bring the original for you to see. I'll bring either one of the originals, whatever you want. And let me know if you have any questions. Okay, so just hold on a second. Okay, so we've got our pencil, and we're going to start by drawing the cup. Okay, so we're going to put the cup on the side. Now, again, there's no right or wrong if you choose to do your cup in the middle or on the other side. There's no right or wrong. What we do want is the cup to be nice and big. If you're going to do it really tiny, it's going to be so hard to get all the details in. And by doing the cup big, by drawing our cup really big, it makes it look like the sand is really near and the sea is really far. It really helps to add to that 3D look. So with that being said, we're going to start by over here, where we're going to draw over here the bottom of the cup. Okay, if I'm going too fast, or if I'm talking too fast, or if I'm not clear, ask questions. The bottom of the cup, we're going to draw a slight smile shape, but don't make it too round, okay? I'm going to show you what I mean. It's almost a straight line, but it's slightly smile. I've got this about the size of 4 fingers wide, okay? Can you see that? Is this clear for everyone? I don't know if you can see it properly. Okay. It's like someone's just sort of smiling at the corners. Okay. Good. Wait a second. Okay, so when you've got that, then I want you to, from each corner, do a straight line up till about halfway up the canvas, okay? Okay, so just so you know what we're doing here, we're not doing it till the top of the cup yet. We're just drawing till here, till there. Okay, so we've done this round bit, and now we're doing the sides of the cup, but just till the bit where it gets wide. Okay, so don't do it as high as you want the whole cup. It's about 3/4 the height of the cup. I'll make mine a little bit higher. I'm going to repeat what I said yesterday a few times. The one I'm doing now is not as good as the original. I'm painting backwards. I can't really see properly what I'm doing. Just saying, don't judge me by the painting that I'm doing whilst I show you, but you can keep looking at the original and then you can see the real idea. For example, this is spinning in. Whoops. Sorry, guys, hold on a second. Okay. And once we've done that, we want to do the top little bit of the cup where it gets wider. And so all we're going to do is we're going to just make it get wider a bit, going uphill, on the same on both sides. Okay. And then we're going to make it go straight up again. It can go drop out, like a drop slant. I can't show it to you properly. It can go drop like that if you want, like a bit open, but it doesn't have to. It can go straight. Okay. And then we're gonna just join the two together again with our slight smile shape, but face almost a straight line. Okay, gonna give you a minute to make sure you've all got this right. I'll show you again the original, just to quickly show you what we did. We did the smile shape. You see, I keep switching between the two. The smile shape over here, the two lines up the side, gets a bit wider here, and then up and join with that little smile shape again. Okay. I'm gonna leave it like that for you all to see. You cool? All good? Good. Okay, people seem to be ready. If anyone's not ready and thinks I'm going too fast, just write it for me so I can see, if you can. And now we're going to draw the horizon. Okay, the horizon is the line where it looks like the water finishes. So for those of you who don't know, the horizon is this line here. So we all know that the sea doesn't just finish there and like fall off the edge, but we can't see further than that. So that line is called the horizon. Okay, and so we're going to draw that right now. And we're going to start on this side, somewhere in the middle of the cup or near the top of the cup. So around the middle of your whole paper or your canvas. Okay, so around the middle, I'm going to do a straight line as I can. It doesn't have to be perfect. And then I'm going to really carefully make sure, imagine that the line carries on here and draw it here. So I want to be really careful that it's in the same height on both sides of the cup. I don't want it to be like really far down here or really far up here. And okay, whilst you're just doing that, I just want to remind you of something. When I'm showing you what to do, I really advise you to always watch and then do it. Don't try to do it along with me, because then you might miss things and then you won't know what to do. And I'll have to keep repeating myself, and it gets annoying for everyone. And it can be like stressful for you when I'm going too fast for you. So it's always just better to take your time, watch me when I'm explaining something, and then do it. Okay, I think we've all got the horizon line done. And then we're gonna do the sand line, which I always do it straight. Sand lines aren't always straight, so you're welcome to do it how you want. We're just gonna do another line, exactly the same concept as here, but somewhere near the bottom of the cup, but not at the very bottom, okay? So around there. And again, we're gonna make sure it goes till here. I'm gonna jump my pencil up and put it back down in the same height on the other side and go all the way across. Okay, so you see we've got the horizon line and what we're going to call the sand line. Okay, once you've done that, you can put your pencil away. That's all we're drawing today. The rest is paint, fun part. Okay, is there anyone who needs me to wait, or are we good to start? Okay, someone's asking me to wait a little bit more, so I'm going to wait a second. Someone asked if your sky supposed to be big. Yes, it's quite big. If you look, I mean, again, there's no right or wrong. If it's small, it's okay. But over here, if you look, almost half of the painting is the sky. You see? Almost half of it. So if this is the sky, yeah, almost half of in the original. So there's really no right or wrong. If you've done your sky higher, that's totally fine. Like smaller, that's totally fine. It doesn't have to be. I'm so thinking. Okay, someone's asked me to go a bit slower, so I'm waiting. I'm going to wait till you've all caught up. If there's anything you need me to explain again, just write that. And for now, I'm just going to wait a minute. My sky's half the canvas. Does it matter? No, that's perfect. That's what I said. It should be about. So I'll show you again. In the original, I did the sky just a bit less than half the canvas. In this one, I've done it probably around half. You know, it could even be 3/4 of the canvas for like as long as the colors are right, it will be fine. And if you look in this one, also the sky is about half. Okay, someone's asking carry on. I'm just gonna wait a second. It doesn't matter if your cup is really tight. Cups come in all shapes and sizes. So really don't worry about that. Okay, dokes. I think we're ready to carry on. I'm gonna assume from the silence over here that we're good. If you're not happy with the shape of your cup for whatever reason, and you're finding it hard to rub it out because on canvas it can be really hard, don't rub too hard. You don't want to, if you press too hard, you can ruin your canvas. So you're better off if, let's say, I've made my cup taller than I want. So then I'll imagine this is a line that I drew by mistake and I don't want. I'm just gonna scribble it out. When I paint over it, it's all gonna get covered up. Okay, so just bear that in mind. And we're gonna start with the sky. So I'm gonna take my plate out. And for the sky, what I need is my sky blue, which in my case, I've got cerulean blue, but it's a very specific color. I doubt any of you have exactly the same, but any sky blue is good. Ultramarine could be very nice. Anything that reminds you of the sky. Okay, and I'm gonna pour out, and because of this hot weather, again, the paint dries quite fast, so don't pour out too much for now. Okay, so I've got like a blob on my plate, just to compare to my finger, you can see that's the size. And then I'm gonna pour out some white. I use titanium white, just because that's quite an opaque white. It doesn't let the color through. I like it. I've just poured quite a lot of white. I don't think I'll need all of that, but you know, it's good to start with a lot. Okay. Now, like I was saying yesterday, I very rarely mix the color on my palette. I like to just let mixing happen on the canvas, but it does mean we have to work fast with some things because you don't want the color to dry. So I'm going to just, okay, so someone wants me to announce the colors again. I'll quickly go through all the colors again, and then we'll start. So we've got a sky blue, any sky blue that you like. Like I keep saying, in real, this looks much lighter. For some reason, it's coming out very dark on your screens. White, titanium white is my favorite, but any kind of white is good. Any kind of beige, what I'm using is a yellow ochre. Any kind of brown, burnt umber is my favorite. You see it's like a nice, warm, rich brown. So we've got the beige, the brown, an actual yellow, like cadmium yellow. If you want, if you have a turquoise, it's nice. I did not write that on the list of things you need, so don't worry about it. If you don't have a turquoise, I'm using turquoise for the sea, but you really don't have to. And a black, a green if you're going to paint a line. A green if you're going to paint the line, and a black, I'm going to get soon. And for the starfish, a red or whatever color you want. You really don't need to prepare the starfish color. It could be anything. It could be purple, it could be pink, it could be whatever you want. And okay, I'm going to show the original one more time, and then we're going to really start to paint because I think people really want to start getting messy. Okay, so that's what we're doing. Okay. Okay, if you're just joined, try to see if you can catch up by just looking at what you're seeing, and just kind of work out, because actually, if you don't do it exactly the same as what I've said, it's going to be fine. It's going to be nice. Art is art. I always say art is art. Whatever you do is right. Okay, so we're going to take our flat brush. I just like when I'm doing big areas to use a flat brush. I find it, I like to use a flat brush. For the sky, we're using a light blue, a nice sky, light, bright blue. This time we're doing a daytime painting. I just find the flat brush gets us further. If you don't have a flat brush, just use a round brush, anything's fine. And what we're going for is for it to be darkest near the top and getting lighter as we get near to the horizon. So the way we do that is I'm going to wet my brush a tiny bit, okay? You can't really see that on the screen, sorry. And I'm going to take a little bit of the blue. Never overload your brush, always better. I mean, don't take too little, but don't overload. And I always take the paint from the side. I don't want to dirty my paint in the middle. I always take it from the side. That way, whoops, I actually got white on that. That way I keep the rest clean and I keep it in one big pile so that it takes longer to dry. The bigger the pile of paint, the longer it takes to dry. The more you spread it out, it's just going to dry on your palette. Okay, so I'm taking a nice big bit and I'm just painting side to side. It's not like yesterday where we just went randomly. This time we're going for a much smoother, calmer, relaxing summertime feel. So we're just going nicely side to side painting. Make sure we don't want any of those dotty bits of the canvas to show through. Then I'm going to take again some more blue. Okay, but this time I'm going to take a little bit of white too. And if you notice, I'm taking the white from the side to keep my white clean. You can't really see the white very clearly. Oh, there you go. You can see it. So you see, I've just taken from the side, so the rest of my white stays clean. And I'm just going to go the next bit down, and I'm going to keep painting over. You almost can't see a change in color, but as we do each step, we're going to keep adding more white to it until eventually we're going to get to the bottom of the sky and it's going to be much lighter. So you see, I've just added a drop of white. Maybe I'm going to even do a bit more because even I can't see the difference. So I just add it on there. As long as the paint's still wet, I should still be able to mix it in. Okay. And now I'm going to add only a drop of blue. I'm just going to dot it along a few times. And I'm going to add this time as much white as blue. Okay. I'm just going to get that to, and I'm adding a bit more blue and a bit more white. And as you see, as I add more white, it's going to get lighter and lighter. Now, eventually, we want to start adding more white than blue because we want it to get really nice and light near the bottom. So right now, I'm only putting white. I've got so much blue on my paintbrush that I don't think I really need to add much blue. Maybe I will need to soon. We're going to see. You're the artist. You decide if you're going to want to add more blue, if you want it to be so light already. Okay, so I'm just going back and forwards. I'm also going over what I've done already so that it brings in some of the blue and it helps it blend nicely. Okay, I am going to add a drop more blue. Yeah. You see how we're really starting to get this sort of ombre. Look, I'm wetting my paintbrush again. I always find in the summer heat, you need to wet your paintbrush more. It also very much depends on your brand of paints, how much you need to wet your paintbrush. Some paints are more runny than others. So you just feel if it's going smoothly enough, don't bother wetting your brush. If it's just not spreading nicely, then wet it. By the bottom, where I'm getting to the horizon, I'm really just using white. I really don't need to worry about adding any blue. There's enough blue on the brush and being dragged down from the top. I don't need to add any more. I just, every time I put my brush down, it's because I'm dipping it back into the white and I'm just letting my brush, the leftover blue on my brush get on there and spread. Okay. If it's too hard for you to blend it, if you're finding it too hard to make it go from dark to light, make it all one color. That's going to look really nice too. I'm just showing you a nice certain level of painting, but if you find it too hard to make a nice smooth transition from dark to light, then don't worry about it. Just do it one color. That's going to look great too. Okay. If you've got any color that you want to, any pencil lines that you want to cover, just make sure to do nice thick paint. Enough white will for sure cover it. And don't forget to just go over the lines that you've drawn. Don't worry about going up to the line. You see, I always say, if you drew it once, you're going to be able to draw it again. The lines are just there as a guideline for you. No one wants to see those lines in the end. Okay, so we want to make sure we're really completely covering in the sky without worrying about leaving the lines visible and leaving a space till the lines. Okay, so our sky should look something like that. You see, it's nice and smooth. It's not completely smooth, but it's a painting. We don't want it to be completely perfect. And once you're done, just clean your brush. Always clean your brush with water, because if you don't, it will dry out. I did forget to say, but I think you should all know this probably, that to have like a kitchen towel or any sort of tissue. I like kitchen towels the best, but kitchen, whatever you call these. Yeah, to dry your brush on the whole time. Okay, I'm putting that on the side, and I'm gonna just wait a few minutes for you all to finish. It's quite a big area to paint. If you have a bit of blue in the lighter part, first of all, that's totally fine, because look, I have blue here too. It's not completely white. We never want it completely white. It's just I only added white paint to it, but because I had blue on my brush, we got a really nice light blue. So don't worry about it. If it's overtaking, I always say it's best for you to wait for it to dry before you try to fix it. Because if you're going to keep trying to fix it by adding more and more and more white whilst the paint's still wet, it's just going to it's going to take much too long to get light enough, and it's going to be really hard for you to cover up the mistake. Whereas if you just wait a few minutes for it to dry, which in this heat it should take, like mine's already pretty much dry, like 90% dry, so it goes very quick. And then once it's dry, you can fix it. Okay, let me know when we're ready to continue. If anyone wants me to wait, write it. If you want me to continue, write it, and we'll see. Okay, someone told me to wait, so I see it's going to take you a few more minutes. Okay, I see a few people are writing wait. So don't worry, don't worry, I'm waiting. Okay, and don't panic. It's gonna, you're all gonna get it finished in the end. You really don't need to worry about it too much. I'm waiting for all of you. Okay, that sounds lovely. Someone said to use dark blue for the top and light blue for the bottom. That sounds like it could be really a nice way. I love to see when people put their own spin on it, because you're all your own artists. You've all got to know how you like it the best. Okay, when people are ready, start writing ready. And when I see a few people writing that they're ready, I will continue. But don't rush, really don't rush. Someone's asking if we can draw birds. For sure, wait till the end. I will wait till the end because we're going to have some black on our paintbrush at one point to do the straws. So then we could just quickly add a bird in. Lovely idea, actually. So there's no rules. Okay, more people are saying they're ready. I'm going to start in a minute unless someone tells me not to. I'm going to start in a minute. Yeah, lots of people are saying they're ready. Okay, so now we're going to do the clouds. So I'm going to take out two brushes here. Okay, I've got my smaller round brush and my bigger round brush. It actually doesn't matter which one you use for what, but I'm going to use my smaller one to put the paint on and my bigger one for blending it. Okay, I'm going to show you what I mean. This is a very cool technique where it's called the dry brush technique, where we use a dry brush to help blend something and make it look softer and fluffier. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit of white paint, just a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to draw myself out a cloud. Okay, we do have to do this a bit quickly, especially because it dries so quickly. Normally the background would still be wet when I do this, and it's not today, which is fine. Okay, and we're going to draw out a cloud. I want a cloud over here, so I'm just going to make it, dot it on. Okay, it's going to be nice, and I'm dotting it to make it nice and fluffy. Okay, and it's going to be thinner towards the edges. Okay, so we like our cloud. That's how we like to do our clouds. And then really quickly, I'm going to take my dry brush. Okay, my clean one. So this one has the paint on it. This is my clean one. My clean one hasn't been dipped in paint at all yet. I'm going to dip it in a drop of water, squeeze out the rest on the side of my cup. And I'm going to, just the edges, I'm going to blend out into the sky to make it really soft and cloudy. And I'm going to just get it a bit wet again. You see it. I'm not used to it drying this fast. I'm just trying to paint this in a way that you can all see. Okay. Can you see how I'm just making the ends of the clouds? Only the edge. I'm leaving the middle nice and thick. I'm making the edge nice and wispy. Okay. If you've done it too far and you think you've gone too far and your whole cloud is wispy and not just the edges, then just add a bit more white into the middle. Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna do it a few times so you can all see it. So if you're not sure, if you want, you can start already. If you're not sure how I did that, just watch me again before you start, okay? So I'm gonna do a smaller one here. I'm just, with my white paintbrush, make sure to keep this one clean. It really helps that this one doesn't have any paint on it. I'm gonna make it thicker in the middle. I'm gonna make some of them smaller than others to make it look natural. Okay, thick in the middle and getting thin towards the sides. Okay, then I'm gonna dip my other paintbrush into water, just a tiny little bit. We really don't want this too wet. Okay, and I'm just gonna blend off the edges to make it softer. Just the edges, okay? We're keeping the middle nice and white. Okay. A little bit again. This time I'll do it without talking through it. You can also use this. You see, I can still just vaguely see my line that I did as a mistake there. So I'm going to use this opportunity to cover that up. So you can really decide where to put this. It's a really good tool for covering up any mistakes that you couldn't cover up till now. And the same thing with, someone asked if they can add birds, it will be a really good opportunity to cover up any mistakes. This wasn't actually the best place to put a cloud. We're going to have a lemon over here covering most of it, but why not? Don't overdo it with the clouds. You don't want to look like a winter's day. We want it to look like a nice summery day, but it just looks nice to have the clouds in the sky, even on a summer's day. For painting, even if in real life we rather there's not even a single cloud, but in a painting it just makes it look really, it brings out the blue of the sky by having the contrast of little wispy white clouds. You can have, if you see I just did one or two going off the edges, you can make them go off the edges too. Sorry. Someone says the white blends with the blue. It might blend with the blue. That's actually good. Normally it does, because my blue completely dried. It didn't, but it's totally fine if it does. I'll show you what I mean. In the past when I've done it and it didn't dry in between, the clouds literally came out quite blue. But as long as you still see where it's white, and you can keep adding more white in the middle to make it more, maybe wait for it to dry a minute before you completely add more white, because the more you do it on the wet paint, the more it's just going to keep blending. So if you really want it white, wait till it dries, even if it means like later on in the painting to go back to it. But I don't mind that it's blue. Okay, and someone else asked for the original, so there you go. Okay, someone's written that they're ready. I'll wait for a couple more of those before we carry on. Okay, people seem to be ready. So we're going to go on to the water. So like I said, I'm going to do my water turquoise, but you can really, I'll just show you the difference. It's like, if you don't have a turquoise, just do it the same color. So I'll just show you the difference. I'll show you half and half. In this one, I did a sky blue and then a turquoise water. Here I did a sky blue and a sky blue water. Both work, both are realistic, both could happen, you know. So whatever you want. I'm doing mine turquoise. What they're calling this color is, yeah, deep turquoise. Okay, yeah, someone says, can I do it light blue? Of course you can. And I'm going to actually use it straight out of the bottle because there's not so much in here. But really, you should pour it on your plate. And don't forget, make sure you cleaned your brushes that you're using till now, because if you're not using it right now, and if you leave it, it will get ruined. The paint will dry on it, and then you won't be able to use it later, or at all, because once the paint dries on it, it doesn't really clean. And we're going to go now to a flat brush. Okay, so flat brush. Now, the cool thing about the flat brush that we spoke about yesterday is, if you want, it could be a wide brush. You can go like that. Okay. Or if you want, you can turn your paintbrush halfway. Yes, you could use 2 shades of blue, no problem. If you go this way, you can make thin lines, right? So what we're going for right now is the thin lines. Okay, so we're going to take, I just used the wrong blue for that, but it doesn't matter. I'm going to cover it all up. I'm going to take my turquoise, and we're going to go for the same idea, that it's going from darker to lighter as it goes down. Just this time, we want it to look like waves. Now, till now, many of you would have done waves by just going like that, okay? But we're not gonna do that because waves, when you look at them head on, that's not how they really look. We're gonna do this better. So I'm taking some of my turquoise on my flat brush. I'm gonna start by just getting this line really nice and straight, okay? You see how I'm going over the line by the cup? That's totally fine. I'm even covering a drop of the sky. It's better to cover the sky than to leave a white gap. Okay, use plenty of paint. And then I'm gonna do these sort of zigzag lines. Okay, just by doing it zigzag, this really makes it look like water. It's really cool. Somehow creates this illusion that you're seeing these little waves coming towards you. You'll see soon. Right now, it doesn't look like much, but once we add the white, it really will. Okay, cover all of that up. Okay, and then I'm going to take a bit of white. Now, remember, I'm always taking my white from the side, not from the middle, so that way the rest of my white stays clean. You see over here, I've got some dirty white, but all the middle of my white is nice and clean, so I can use it with whatever color I want. And I'm just going to add some white lines into this. It's going to start getting lighter. Not too much white, because I want it to be just getting lighter. I don't want it to be white yet. I just want it to be, I'm basically blending on my canvas. But I don't want to overblend. I want to see these lines because these lines make it look like water. Okay, you see over there, it looks a little bit too white for me. So I'm just adding a drop more of the turquoise back, or light blue, whatever color it is you chose to use. Okay, and I'm just going to keep working my way down, adding more white as I go down. Making sure to always, I want in the end this line to disappear. Okay, I don't want to see that line at all. You're going to be able to redraw it afterwards, because what ends up happening is a lot of people do it like this because they're scared to go over the line, and then later you've got this big white patch and you're like, oh hey, I didn't cover that bit of my canvas with paint, and that was because you were too scared to go over the lines, because since you were in kindergarten everyone told you don't go over the lines, don't go over the lines. But actually artists love going out the lines. When it's right to go out the lines, obviously not just always. You see, some paint went there into my sand. I'm not worried, it's all going to get covered. I'm taking a bit of white with a bit of blue here because I've got no blue turquoise left on my brush, and I don't want any of the water to be completely white. Still want to always have these blue streaks coming through it to make it look like waves and water. And can you see how it really just looks like water, even though I haven't done any of these waves? I've just done it all side to side. Somehow I can see that it's waves because our brains, our clever little brains, are able to fill in what it is just by seeing the lines, the side to side lines, because those actually really resemble what the real sea looks like more than the waves that we drew as children. Okay, don't forget the side over here. So I'm just starting it all from the beginning. Okay, just start like that, then going side to side, bringing some paint down. Got a bit too much paint on, so I just wiped it off, and then I'm adding some more white and going down to the bottom. Okay, and make sure that the side over here kind of matches here, so it gets dark to light at the same speed. It's not that here it's dark here, and then it starts getting light, and then here dark all the way down to here. It should look like it flows as one piece. Okay, and once again, I don't want to see this line anymore. Don't worry about covering up the line. It's going to be really simple to cover up, to go back and paint over it to make the iced tea. Okay, and that's how we do the sea, really nice and simple. Okay, someone's asking for me to repeat the sea. Very simple. Just hold your flat brush sideways and paint side to side. And you're doing it the same way as the sky, dark to light, but just doing it in lines. You're doing sort of zigzaggy lines from top to bottom. And you're just every few minutes, every little bit, adding a bit more white until it gets lighter. Okay. And yeah, just try always to watch me. Like I said before, always watch me and then do it, because if you're trying to paint alongside me, or even if you're still painting something from the previous section, pause, and if I've carried on, pause, watch the instructions, and then carry on where you're up to and try to catch up, because then it's easier. Then you actually see what I'm doing. Are we doing waves? These are the waves. That's as much waves that we're doing. We're not doing any big washy waves. Look at the finals. This is what it's going to look like. Okay, there's no drama in the waves. It's not what we're doing. We're doing just ripples. Okay, yes, a lot of people ask me to wait. Don't worry, I'm waiting. I know that this part can be harder. It takes time, so don't worry. Once again, if you didn't manage to go from dark to light and it sort of ended up in one color, don't worry about that. It should look okay. It should be fine. We are not waiting for it to, we're not waiting for it to dry. No, we're just waiting for everyone to catch up. For the sundae, can I use the color tan? We are doing iced tea. It's not a sundae. If you want to do a sundae and you know how to do it, by all means, do a sundae. I can only show one thing over here, but I need to use whatever color you want for it. And I'd love to see the results afterwards, because I really love to see people's things. And again, I think someone's asked to see the original, so there you go. And someone said that they're ready. We're going to wait to see if anyone else is ready. If you can see it, it's an iced tea. You can see that it's see-through because the straws show through, and there's a lemon on it. Okay. Oh, someone says ready. Someone says wait. We're going to wait. Oh, anytime, don't worry. Okay, I know some of you are finished. We're just going to wait a minute for people who are not. I don't want anyone to be stressing about having to catch up. Okay, some of you saying you're done. I'd love to see, someone says they're using pencil crayon and it's still very nice. I'd love to see the results. I would love for you to send me, when this is all done, for you to send me pictures. At the end, I'm going to tell you how. Pictures of what you've done today, or those of you who did yesterday's painting. If you could show me those, I'd love to see the finished results. Okay, so at the end of this, I'm going to send you all my email address and my phone number. I think, am I right to say we can move on? If anyone thinks we can't move on, then show me, then tell me. If no one says it in the next half a minute, I'll go on. Okay, no one's telling me to stop, so I'm going to take that as a sign that we can move on. We've still got white on our palette, so we don't need to pour out anymore. If your white is all dirty, if you haven't managed to keep it nice and clean, then take yourself some new white because we're not using blue right now. If it's clean, just use what you've got, or if you've run out, just take some more. We're going to take our beige out. I'm going to just do a squeeze of some of our beige. Oh, yellow ochre in my case. Yellow ochre is a good bit. It's a sand color, any color that reminds you of sand, really. And we're going to take out a little bit of this dark brown. Okay. And then we're going to take either one of our flat brushes. It's fine. It actually doesn't matter here. And we're going to create texture to make it look like sand. It's just a bit wet. Okay. So what we're going to do, I'm going to start with our sand color. And we're just going to paint on in all sorts of directions. The problem is I can't really see much. I can't see the difference between this brush stroke and this brush stroke, so it's not adding much texture. So I'm going to take a tiny bit of white and I'm going to do white brush strokes too. And as you can see, now I can see texture. Can you see how it's becoming different textures? I'm going to make it lighter in some places, darker. It kind of looks like messy sand that has been walked all over. Looks really nice and fresh. And we're also going to, for now, we're going to avoid the water. We don't want it to go, because if you touch the water and your paint isn't dry, you're going to end up with blue in your sand, which can annoy some people. It can frustrate some of you. If you do end up getting blue in your sand, just wait for it to dry before you try to cover it up. Okay, so for now, I'm avoiding the edge. I'm doing this all over. Every so often, I'm even going to add in a tiny little bit of the dark brown. Okay, let it mix itself in. So mostly what we're using is our sand color in all different directions. Okay, this can be done with a round brush too. Everything can be done interchangeably with whatever brush you want. This is all just advisory. You do what you want. Okay, don't forget to every so often add some white in. There we go, I accidentally got some blue already in my sand. I don't mind it so much, but if you do mind it, then wait till it dries before you fix it. I quite like it, even. Okay, so we all understood this. It's quite easy. Just paint in all directions. It's really quite relaxing and quiet to do this. I feel like some of you are going to finish this quicker than me. Okay, and then once you're quite happy that your sea is pretty dry, or even if it's not completely dry, don't worry about it. Then we could just go over it, and we want it to really go over. Don't worry, I've done that a bit too dark, but let it go over. We don't want a perfect line here, okay? We want it to look nice and natural, as if the sand has actually been played with. Okay, so that's kind of what it should look like. So someone asked if they can go slightly over the line. No, like I just showed you, in fact, do go slightly over the line. It really looks nice. So I'll just show you the other ones. We've got it. This is what it looked like the first time I did it. This is what it looked like the second time. It's all the same idea with the paint just going all over the place. Okay, we're good. So someone asks, when it's dry, can we add buckets and spades, or we have to add the starfish? Add buckets and spades. That will be gorgeous. I'm going to see what the time is. I don't think I'm going to show you to do a buckets and spades, but if you feel like you know how to do a bucket and spade by yourself, go for it. That's going to be gorgeous. You don't have to do the starfish. I'm showing you to do starfish because that's what's in the picture. But I really love to see you all come up with your own ideas. I will say, if you're doing this with crayons, it might be hard to add things over afterwards, but I think you're going to be fine. I think you're all going to manage. You're all great artists. Okay, gonna wait another minute or two. Let me know if you're ready or if you want me to wait, so I can just get a feel of where we're all up to. So some are saying, please wait. Some are saying ready. We're about half, so we're gonna wait a bit more. Yeah, we're getting still quite a few people asking to wait, and a few saying they're ready, but there's enough people who want me to wait that I will wait a few more minutes. Okay. Waiting for more people to say they're ready. Okay, we're getting quite a lot of people saying they're ready. So we're just going to show. For those of you who were here yesterday, you might remember I said, when we draw the shadow of something, when we draw anything, we always want to work from back to front in order to really help. Someone's asking, can you wait, please? I'm going to just talk a little bit so you can carry on and just listen whilst you're carrying on, okay? So we always work from the back to the front. That way we can really make it look like something's behind and something's in front. So for example, we did the sky first, and then we did the water on top. So the water looks like it's in front of the sky. If we'd have done it the other way around, even though it wouldn't make a massive difference, but it would be hard for it to look like the sky is going behind the water. And then the same thing with the sand is in front. Now, when we do a shadow, we always do the shadow before the object because the shadow is behind the object, right? Because if you think about it, if you can see the shadow of my hand on this paper, when my hand is on this paper, the shadow is behind my hand, even though it's you'd think of it as something as part of my hand, but actually it's behind my hand. So we're going to do the shadow before we do the actual thing. And it's super important to do a shadow because if you don't, it kind of just looks like it's floating. It doesn't look like it's sitting on the floor. So we're going to do a shadow here by just taking our same paintbrush. Okay, best if the paint is still wet. So mine is mostly dry. So I'm just going to quickly go over the area here, make it wet paint again. Okay, so if someone's asking me to please wait, I'm going to continue because a lot of people want me to continue. So I would advise you stop for a second, watch, and then you'll catch up. At the end, I'm going to stay for a bit longer. So anyone who hasn't finished can still ask questions. So don't really don't worry about falling behind or anything. I'm doing my best for no one to fall behind, but if anyone does, it's okay. So I've just made my paint wet here again. You don't have to, I just like to, cleaning my brush. And I'm gonna take a little bit of my dark brown, just a tiny bit. We don't want this to get too dark, okay? And I'm gonna just add around the bottom of the cup some darker sand. I know we've got it going on in other places, but I'm gonna do quite a high concentration of darker sand right under the cup. Okay, so it's still sand color, and even our beige color is still showing through. I'm doing this in all different colors, in all different directions, I mean, but it's still showing through. And I'm going to make sure that right at the bottom of the cup, right where the cup meets the sand, that's where it's going to be the darkest. Okay, so you can see how it's really the darkest over here, and it blends away. See that? Okay, so now we've got a really nice shadow, so it really looks like it's sitting on the sand. Okay, you can let me know when you're ready. Okay, people want to carry on, I think. Let me just check. Okay, people are ready to carry on. So we're going to start with the iced tea. Now, we're going to start by drawing the drink inside the cup, and only afterwards we're going to do the glass of the cup. Okay, so what we're going to do is take our flat brush. I'm going to take my thinner black brush, my thinner flat brush, okay, and I'm going to paint it dark brown just till the first half of the cup, the part where it's still thinner, okay? Painting from up to down, and I'm using this opportunity now to redraw this line that we messed up before. Make it nice and straight on both sides. Just till that there. And the bottom of the cup too, that smiley shape. I'm filling all of this in just in plain brown. Okay, just like that. Okay, and don't forget to clean your brush in between each color so that it doesn't dry out. Oops. Okay, give you a few seconds. It's quite an easy thing to do, so I'm not going to take too long on that. And if you're ready for the next stage, I'm not doing it yet, but you can already pour out your yellow paint, okay? And the paint, just pour out like a blob of that whilst you're waiting. Okay, that's kind of nice. Okay, people saying they're ready to go. I'm gonna wait for a few more messages like that without any people asking to wait, and then we're gonna go. Okay, we're good. I think we're good. It shouldn't take longer than that. If it did, don't worry, really don't stress, but watch this next part. What we're going to do for this next part is we're going to take some of our yellow paint, okay, and a tiny bit of white paint, but we want mostly yellow. We just want to soften the yellow a little bit. So I've got mostly yellow on there and just a tiny bit of white. And we're going to color in the top half of the cup. Okay, the white, what the white does, it softens the color, but it also makes it more opaque, so it's like not see-through, which is really good for over here where we don't want to see the sea. Okay, I've just got a bit of blue on my brush, so before I let it ruin, I just quickly wiped it off over on my paper so that it doesn't turn all my yellow into green. Okay, so I'm gonna just fill in the middle there. I'm gonna get back these straight lines, make sure it's wider than the brown part. Do that little slidey bit that we had. Don't worry if a bit of brown gets in there because it's, you know, it's all part of the same drink. Let it go over the brown a little bit. Okay, it's different than normal because the brown everything's drying so quickly. Normally the yellow would blend better in with the brown. And for some reason, because it's dried so quickly, it's not blending so well. I don't know how it's going on by you, but I'm going to just wet my brown a little bit again and then go with the yellow back over it. Try to get rid of this sharp line. We don't want it to be so strong between the yellow to the brown. And in the middle of the brown, I'm going to put some yellow. Now the yellows, it's just going to make the brown look brighter. It shouldn't look like yellow. It should just look like a lighter, brighter brown just in the middle to help it look 3D. See, like it's lighter in the middle and darker on the sides. Okay. And on top of that, we're going to do a bit of white in the middle here to make this part lighter. Now, don't worry, some browns got in. I quite like that because it just makes the yellow look more iced tea-ish. Okay. I know at the moment it still looks a bit like floating drink because it doesn't look so much like a glass. We're going to add some really simple details in a few minutes, and it's just going to suddenly become a glass jar rather than just a brown cup. Okay, you want to see the original? I'm going to show you the original, the one I like better. It's there. So you see how we've got brown from the bottom going up, and then we've got the yellow coming down, and how it blends really nicely together. Okay, that's what we're going for. And you see here the yellow is quite light. In this one, I add quite a lot of white. You can choose how much white you want to add. Okay, someone's written ready. I'll wait for one or two more people to say that we're ready before carrying on. Okay, so a few people say ready, and then someone's asked me to wait. So I think I'm going to wait another minute, if that's okay. Someone's asked, do we still need the blue? Unless you're going to make a blue starfish, no, or a blue bucket. In what we're doing, we're finished with the blue, we're finished with the turquoise. Now we're just using browns, yellows, maybe green if we want to add a lime, and we'll use black in a few minutes. So no, for now, no more blue. Are we ready? I think we're going to continue. We're going to draw the lemon. Now the lemon's really quite simple to draw. So, but I want you to watch and then do it, okay? Don't do it along with me. Watch and then do it. Now it's the same for a lemon and a lime. So I'm going to do a lemon and I'm going to do a lime. It's the same thing, so I'll end up showing it twice. If you only want to do a lime because you want the nice pop of green, I'll show you how nice it looks with the pop of green. You see, over here I've done like a line behind the lemon. It looks really nice with a pop of green. So if you want to do only the lime, just do whatever I'm doing, but with green. Okay, it's very simple. And what we're going to do is we're going to take our round brush. Okay. Now, if we press our round brush really softly, we can get a thin line. It should have a tip. Okay. So I'm going to just take a little bit of yellow only on my tip of my brush, okay? Let me see what you can see it. There. You see, I've got a bit of yellow just on the tip of the brush. Take not too much, but make sure there's enough that I'm going to be able to make the whole lemon. And I'm going to we want it sitting on the edge of the cup, you see? So it's going to start on the top. I'm going to draw a whole circle, okay? Really watch me before you start this, okay? Watch me, don't do it yet, okay? We want the paint to be quite thick here, like even bumping up from the canvas a bit because we want extra paint for this next part, okay? So I've got my lemon here. Then I'm gonna wipe off whatever's left of the paint onto my tissue or onto my plate. I'm not cleaning it because I don't mind a bit of yellow, but I don't want too much. Then I'm going to take some white. If you see, I've still managed to keep the middle of my white all clean because I always take from the sides. I took my blues from over here, my yellows here, so I'm not mixing colors, being really careful. Taking just a tiny bit of white paint, and I'm going to pull this yellow into the middle. Okay, so I'm just pulling it in the whole time. Go over the line a bit, that's fine, of the cup, I mean. I'm just pulling it in from out to in, and you see I'm getting a light yellow because I've added white. So I'm adding a bit more white. And with the white and because I made it so thick, the peel, it should just pull in, okay? You see? And then we have a lemon, okay? So if you've got the idea, you can start now. If you're not so sure, just wait a second. I'm gonna do it in green for a lime. Now, I'm gonna do it, just to make it easy, I'm gonna do my lime this time over here on this side, okay? But in case you want to do it like I've done like I did it the last time. So in this one, I did just one lemon. And in this one, I did a lemon and a lime, but with a lime behind the lemon. So that's what it would look like. Okay. So, okay, so I'm taking some of my green paint out. I've cleaned my brush because I don't want my lime to have the yellow on it. Although if it does, it's also fine because green with yellow just makes a lighter green. Taking some paint on the tip of my round brush, and I'm gonna draw a circle. Okay, now if you're doing a lime, because this is yellow, the lemon, it's all yellow anyway, so I don't need to do anything here. But because this is green, I'm gonna do a little bit, like a sort of bit of the green inside, because it would be see-through, you'd be able to see it. But here I'm doing it quite thick, the paint. Okay, and I'm just wiping off on the paintbrush, not too much. Still, my paintbrush is still got green paint on it, but very, very little bit. Taking a bit of white paint and pulling that paint to the middle of our slice of lime. Okay, so it's just going in. I'm just going to add a bit more white. Just pulling it in, in. Oh, I've got the lime. Almost. Still one more thing to do, but just get this done first. It looks almost like Mickey Mouse ears when there's one on each side, but I think it was just easier for you to see what I've done. Okay, if you want, you can add what's that white area called? I think the pith or something, that white area, but just making a thin white line afterwards next to the peel, between the peel and the segments of lemon. I'm sure there's scientific names for all of these things. Okay, so I'm just adding a thin white line between the peel over there. Just an added element to make it even that bit more realistic. But if you feel like you can't get that line thin enough, leave it out. Don't do it because it's not absolutely necessary. Okay, I'm so happy to see that you're really enjoying. You can substitute colors. Like I've said a few times, there's no rules here. Do whatever colors you want. I'm showing you how I've done it. If you know what you're doing, and some of you really seem to know and be artistic and you know what you're doing, do whatever color you want, whatever feels right to you. Okay, someone wants me to show the lemon from closer. You see? Okay. Messy is also nice. It's just another style. Don't worry if it looks messy. It's gonna still be beautiful. You see over here, I wasn't happy, it didn't cover the sea properly, so when it dried, I've just gone over it a little bit. So if you've got that same problem, and go with it. Really don't worry about messiness, okay? Trust me, I'm the messiest. Okay, so let's have a few more people saying I'm ready, and then when you do, I can move on. I don't want to rush anyone. I also don't want to get anyone bored. Okay, we're getting people saying ready, I'm ready. Okay, I think you're ready. Okay, so we're going to do now the ice. As you see, we're doing everything that's in the cup before we draw the cup itself. So we're going to get our thin brush. Remember I said I have one really thin brush. If you don't have a very thin brush, just use your round brush. Where's my one? Use your round brush, and if it comes to a nice tip, where? There you go. If it comes to a nice tip, if you press really softly, you should be able to get a nice thin line. Okay, this can also work with the back of your paintbrush. If you really can't get it thin enough, use the back of your paintbrush. But the best is always to use a paintbrush where possible. Okay, now we're going to take some white and we're going to do something really cool where we're going to actually mix the paint with water in order to make it more see-through. So we're going to, this time we actually want it quite wet. So I'm going to take a little bit of white and I'm going to mix it with water. Don't worry if your water is a bit dirty. I mean, if it bothers you, go get new water, but don't worry about it. My water is a bit brown, but once it goes on, there's so little paint in that brown, it just disintegrates and your white is almost pure white. It's close enough. Okay, so I've got very watery white here. I'm almost turning my acrylics into watercolors, but not too much. We don't want it to actually drip. So you can actually see that it's white, but it's quite watery. And we're going to draw little cubes that overlap each other. Okay, those are going to be our ice cubes. We're only doing this at the top because ice cubes would float. And you see how is this showing up? Can you see how I've got a square over here and I'm going to have another one coming behind it? I'm going to fill up this whole thing. We want this really ice. Okay. Okay, lots of squares, just filling this up with squares. Okay. Just make sure the squares, you're using nice watery paint. So it doesn't just look like floating white boxes, they're actually see-through. So it's ice. And we're going to make a little shine in each one. So on the same place on each one, I'll do this closer because I don't know how clear you can see it. On the side of each one at the same place, I'm just doing a little shine. Okay. And that's literally all for the ice cubes. Okay, we're going to be using a lot of our thin brush now. So if you have one, it's really useful. If you don't, like I said, use your round, thick round brush. I'll do one ice cube with this with this brush so you see how I'm doing it. I'm just making my white watery. Okay. And I'm just going to look, I'm going to press so softly. See, I still managed to get a really nice thin line. I didn't water it down as much. That's why it's a bit brighter, but it's going to be fine. But you see how you can really get a thin line just by using a round brush that has a nice tip, and you just only let the tip of your paintbrush touch the canvas or paper, if that's what you're using. Okay, so we're good. I'm sure none of yours are terrible. Everyone's always very critical of their own work. You're welcome to send me a picture of it. And I can tell you how to fix it up. But it's definitely not terrible. Very often when you're painting, your eyes focus on what you've just painted, and all you're seeing are these little white boxes, and it's hard to see the whole picture because you're so focused on what it is you're painting. And then when you put it away and you come back an hour later, or even better, a day later, and you've forgotten all the little details and all you see is the big picture, suddenly you look and you go, oh, hey, hold on a second, it's actually better than I remember. So don't panic if you don't like how it's looking now. Trust me, when you come back to it tomorrow, you're going to like it better. I'm sure of it. I know it's happened so many times by me with my students here. I know you're going to like it better when you look at it tomorrow if you don't like it already, which I'm sure most of you love yours because they're beautiful. Okay. Okay, so someone couldn't see how the ice cubes are supposed to look. If you look really close, it's just really, really light white squares. You almost can't see them. Okay, if you don't want to have the ice cubes, if it's not working out for you, just go over with the yellow. You don't need ice. It's fine. Your iced tea melted because it's such a beautiful hot day. Your ice cubes. Okay. And we're going to continue now with turning it actually into a glass cup, not just at the moment how it looks like a brown cup. But once we do the glass, then you'll be able to see that it's a glass cup with a drink inside, with a brown drink. Okay, so again, I'm watering down my white paint. I've just cleaned my water, so it's not going to be so dirty. I've watered down my white paint. Okay. And I'm going to read carefully, do an outline of the cup with this watered down white. So it's still quite a strong white, but it's a little bit see-through. Okay, so I'm still seeing the brown come through a bit. Really slowly. I'm quite used to this. I'm doing it quite fast. Do this much slower than me. And have your hand resting on something to have a steady hand. So you see my hand is resting on the easel or have it resting on the corner of your table. It really helps to only have to move your fingers. Even if I'm moving my hand, but it's leaning on the table, so it's very steady. Okay, just adding some more water to some white. And I'm going to outline the whole thing, including where the lemon is. Okay, and including the top of the cup. Okay, so I've outlined it all. Okay, I'm going to wait a second for you to all do that. Okay, so once you've outlined it all, I'll just go over this bit over here. So we're already seeing how it's looking like glass, but we want to have it looking a bit more glass-like. So we're going to do these 2 lines over here. Okay, that's just going to give it the look like the sides to the cup. Like we've got a sort of hexagon shaped cup. Again, if you don't want to do this part, don't. If you don't want your cup to be a hexagon shape. But what we do all want to do, what's probably the most important, is a shine. So I want to just switch to a thicker brush, either my round brush or my flat brush. I'm just using my round brush because that's what's near me, but flat brush is also good. And I'm going to take this watered down white that I've got, okay? And I'm going to make a shine going all the way down from almost the top to almost the bottom in the shape of the cup, okay? So I'm going to go nice and fat this time. It's going to go in here in the shape of the cup, remember I said, and then go down. And you see how that, and it can even just like flick off down here a bit, sort of L shape. And just that little detail makes the whole thing look like glass, like it's really a 3D. That one little trick, it does a lot. All moved. Okay. And once you're ready with that, whilst you're waiting, you can get out a little bit of black. We really don't need a lot of black. Really make sure your black doesn't mix in with other colors because it will overpower your whole painting really quickly. It'll be really upsetting if you get black in all the wrong colors. Look, I'm really taking just a little bit here. Okay, so you can get the black out whilst you're waiting. Okay, some people are saying they're ready. Let's see if anyone else says they are. Ready, ready, ready. People seem to be ready. Okie dokes. So we are now going to do, we're almost finished actually. We're going to do the straw. So I'm using my thin brush here. Okay. Just clean that a bit better. And I'm going to take my black paint. Okay. I'm going to use quite a bit on it. I don't want to overdo it. I like to make sure my paint doesn't touch the metal part because that just means that you can't see where the brushes end and it just makes it confusing. Oh, someone's just asked me to wait. A few people have asked me to wait. So I'm going to wait another minute until I start the straws. Okay, so in the meantime, a bit of black paint on your thin paintbrush. Okay, the ones who asked me to wait, just tell me when ready. Okay, if your paintbrush hairs keep splitting, just dip it in water. Okay, just dip it in the water and then with your fingers, try to get it all to a point. If it doesn't go, it might even be worth it with really small nail scissors to snip off the extra bits because it can be really annoying if you have that option. But normally it should be enough to just dip it in water and bring it back to a point. And just when you're cleaning a paintbrush, be careful that you're being gentle with it. If you're too wild, if you press too hard, it can bend the hairs and that can cause a splitting. Okay, let's do the straw. So I've got black paint on my paintbrush, on my thin paintbrush. If it's a bit thicker, it's fine. It's a straw. You know, there's fat straws, there's thin straws. And we're going to do it at an angle because we want it to be a bent straw. Okay. And by the way, I'm doing a black straw. Do your straw any color you want. If you want an orange straw, go for orange, you know. I just like the sharp black against the colors of this painting. But if you're one of those kids who always likes your straw to be pink, for example, do your straw pink. Okay, so I did a bend here. Okay, so I did it that way and then it bends going down. Then I'm going to make sure okay, do that. If you can see how it bends in the middle. See, we're going to add the little lines to it soon to make it look like that little like accordion bit on the straw to bend. We're going to do that soon. Okay. If you're going to do two straws, do both now already. So I'll just show you in the two originals. Here's how I did it with two straws. And this one I actually didn't add the little accordion bit. But this is how it's going to be. Here I've done just one straw with all the nice little details. So you can choose if you're going to do one or two. I feel like now in Corona times, if you want to share iced tea, you need two straws. Once upon a time, we could all just share one straw. Now we need two straws, so it is quite nice. I'm actually going to put a second straw on mine so that anyone who didn't see me do it can see me do it again. I'm going to do this one a little bit less bent because why not? Just to show you that there's no right or wrong. However much you've bent it is totally fine. Till the cup. Okay. Okay, then what we're going to do now is like we did with the white where we added water, we're going to add water now to a little bit of our black. Okay, so I've got over here, it's hard to show you, got over here some black, I'm adding some water to it to make it thinner. And I'm going to continue the straws in the water. So underneath where this one is, I'm going to make a black line under the white bit. So there's a gap. There's the white line that we drew before. There's a gap. If you notice, I'm using my little pinky finger on the painting where the paint is dry to help me keep my hand stable because it's too far away to lean on the easel. So I'm just using my pinky finger and I'm just going to go down and let it sort of taper off, sort of disappears into the water. Okay, so do that again. For the other one, water with my black. Start over here after the white bit. Go down and then sort of taper off. So it looks like the straw is just going into the water. And what's really nice about doing the straws, it's another element that helps us see that it's a see-through liquid inside. All these little things help us understand. The more details there, sometimes you don't want to overdo the details. Sometimes you want to have enough little details to be able to tell what it is we're actually looking at. Okay, so I'm going to wait till you all tell me that your straws are finished, that you're happy with your straws. Someone asked if they can do a bird, and guys, I'll just quickly show you because now you've got black on your brush. You could just take a bird if you want. This, I didn't do a bird in any of the originals, but I think it's a nice, cute idea. Just with the black really thin, only do this with a thin brush. Don't do this with a fat brush. Just do a sort of very wide V shape. And it's nice if you sort of curl it at the edge. Not curl it, sort of flick it at the edge. Okay, that gives it the look of a bird. And I'm going to do 3, but I'm going to do some of them smaller than the others. It looks like they're further away. Okay, that can look really nice. Don't do too many. Can you see the third one? I can't see the third one on the camera on my screen. I wonder if you can. I'm going to go over it to make it a bit stronger. Okay, so we've got 3 birds in the sky, or however many you want, but you don't have to do the birds. Okay, so are the straws done? Are our straws done? I mean, almost besides the accordion bit. In the meantime, clean the black off your brush because we really want this thin brush to be completely clean for the next part. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to take the thin brush now that's been cleaned. It had black on it a minute ago. It's been cleaned. Dip it into the tiniest little bit of white. Now we want only on the tip white. If you don't have a thin brush, leave this part out. I just want to show you, it looks perfectly fine without this. This is just an extra little detail. Look how nice, look, the straws look fine without it. This is just what it looks like with. If you don't think you're going to be able to get a really thin line, leave this part out. But what I'm going to do is really, really, really thin. On the bend, I'm going to do just a few lines going towards the middle. And those few little lines just make it look like that bendy bit on the straw. And I'm also going to add, with a really thin line, a shine down the middle of my straw to make it look 3D. But really, really don't feel like you have to do this. It looks great without it. If you're scared you can't get it really thin, don't do this part. And it's only for the part on top of the straw, on top of the cup, out of the cup. What's underneath, we're just leaving without the shine on it. Okay, so do we have our straws done? Does anyone want me to wait? If you want me to wait, right, wait. If no one writes wait, I'm gonna continue. We need to finish soon. Okay, no one's writing wait. Oh, someone wants to see the original, please, quickly. So I'm gonna just show you again. Here's the original. I'm saying this is so fun. I don't want it to end. I know. I'm so happy you're enjoying it. I wish we could go on forever. But it does have to end soon. It's quite late already, but not yet. We've still got a bit of time, so don't worry. I'm really glad to hear you're enjoying it. And in the meantime, once you're done, this is all that's left. That at this point you could say you're finished, but I'm going to show you how to do the starfish. Anyone who wanted to do buckets and spades, go for it. I'll just quickly talk you through it. A bucket, you would draw the shape of a trapezium, like basically the shape of a cup, but going out a little bit, and make a handle. The spade is literally, if you think about it, you've got a stick with a square at the bottom that's filled in and a square that's empty at the top as the handle at the top. That's it. I don't know if that was clear enough. I think you can all literally just picture out what a bucket and spade looks like in your head and do it if you want to. I'm going to do my starfish. Got my red paint. I really think like a purple starfish could look nice, or an orange starfish, or even, you know what, even a green starfish or a blue starfish. Like any color, just don't do yellow because that's not going to show up very well on the sand. Okay, I'm going to take now my round brush, the medium size one. Okay, not the really thin one. This one, there you go. And I'm going to make sure it's a drop wet, but not too wet. I'm going to dip it in my red. Okay, I've got to have quite a chunk of paint on it, but not too much. And we're going to do, if you think of a sort of stick man doing a star jump. It's called star jump for a reason. Okay, it actually looks like a star. So here's his head. His head is a stick. Okay, watch really carefully and then do it. He's got his two hands going up. You see? He's got his two hands going up, and he's got his 2 feet going down. And then that's it. That's a starfish. You see? Okay, so I'm going to do that again. So if you didn't get it the first time, watch me really carefully. He's got his head, it's a man doing a star jump. He's got his head straight up. He's got his 2 hands up in the air. And he's got his 2 feet spread out wide, like in the middle of the star jump. And that's a starfish. Star jump, starfish. Okay, still not finished starfish. So do that, and then we'll do the details on it. Okay, and once you're done, we want to have the little tentacles, like the little suction things on the cup on the starfish. Okay, so we're going to take a drop of white paint, okay, tiny little bit, and on the side of each leg of the starfish, we're going to do tiny little white dots. Again, only do this if you've got a thin paintbrush. If you don't, just leave this part out. Okay, little white dots. And can you see how that makes it look like those little suction things on a starfish? Just on one side of each leg. You don't want to cover it in spots. Just want to do one side. I'm going to bring this closer to the camera so you can see. See what I mean? So I'm just doing little white dots, not in a straight line or anything. If you're feeling creative, you can turn this into a cartoon, give it eyes and nose and mouth. Not going to do that, but you can. And that's that. Okay, and when you're done that, there is this one last thing that needs to be done. It's the most important part of the painting. The painting is not complete with it. No painting is complete with it. I say this at the end of every single paint party or workshop that I do. This is the most important part of the painting, and it is to sign your name. And it's so important to sign your name because you want everyone to be so proud of what you've done. You should be proud of what you've done, and you want to show it to the world, and you don't want to hide it. You want to be proud of what you've done. So, and the only way everyone can know it was you who did it is if you sign your name. So I'm going to use white paint because I think it's going to show up against the sand. You can use blue. You can sign in the water. You can sign. I often, most times, just sign at the bottom right-hand corner. It's just habit, but you can sign where you want. I'm just going to, for now, do a G. Everyone knows when they see a G, that's me. That's my thing. But you can write your full name, do it with a thin brush. You're welcome to do it with a pen, but I really think it looks so much nicer to do it with a paintbrush, even if it means that it's a little bit messier, but it just is part of the painting. So I like when you do it with a paintbrush. And that's it. That's the painting. So I'm going to stay here a little bit longer if anyone has any questions. I would love to see feedback on what I would love to see if people could send me pictures of what they've done. I'm going to write here my number, actually. I'm going to also read it out. So it's 0032. That's to get to Belgium. If you're in Belgium, just leave out the 032, just do O. And 488920954. Okay. So I'm sending. I only know how to send this privately. So no, I don't know how to send it to everyone. I've sent it to one or two people. I think, so I'm going to say it again. It's 0032 488 920 954. Oh, okay, here, I figured out how to do it to everyone. So now I'm going to send it so everyone can see. So 0032 488 920 954. Okay, I think you can all see that. Then my email address is Avigail, Avigail, Avigail at Gruzman, GRUZMAN.be. Okay, it's Avigail at Gruzman.be. Sending it. And if you want to see it on Instagram, it's at Avigails. I'm sending it so you can see exactly how it's written. Avigails underscore, how do we do it here? Avigails art loft. So these are all places you on Instagram you can see to see all my things. And you can show me what you've done. I'd love to see what you've done. And yeah, let me know over here if you've got any more questions. Okay, so I've already got some messages with pictures. I'm so impressed with what you guys have done. Okay, let me know if there's any questions. We'll wait another couple of minutes. And how can you book me? If anyone wants to book me for a workshop via Zoom, well, if you live here, it doesn't have to. Actually, it does have to be via Zoom probably now with the laws. I'm not even sure what the laws are. But if you want to book me for a Zoom party or workshop or anything, either WhatsApp or on Instagram, or just phone. If you don't have WhatsApp, just phone me. You can send emails, but I don't always see them. So your best is to phone me or message me on Instagram. And you're also welcome to look on my Instagram to see the paintings that I have. I've got paintings that you might like. Got them all for sale. And I do custom commissions for people. I do portraits, watercolor portraits, oil paints. So you're welcome to go check it out and see if you like anything. But for Zoom paint parties, like I said, message me on Instagram or message me on WhatsApp. Message is always better. I always find it's easier than phoning, because then you can get then I have it written so I can see. But how you want. Just looking at some pictures that people are sending, I am so impressed. Great job, guys. Okay, yeah, I am ready to leave. I think no one else seems to be asking me any questions about the painting, so we are going to close. Have a lovely night, have a good Shabbos, and have a lovely holiday. This has been really fun. See you all.